This film was produced by the Alexandria chapter of the Izaak Walton League of America to show the stream conditions in the vicinity of Alexandria in October 1949. Assistance in the production was given by the Alexandria chapter of the DAR and the Interstate Commission on the Potomac River Basin. This film, as well as the effort of the producing organizations, is dedicated to the elimination of the foul stream conditions it reveals. The map shows the city of Alexandria and its relation to 4 Mile Run, the Potomac, and Hunting Creek. The red arrow marks the mouth of 4 Mile Run, immediately south of the Washington National Airport. These introductory views were made from a rowboat, starting at the point shown on the map. Here are the easily seen effects of sewage pollution. Light material floating on the river water surface with general water discoloration and sludge boils or the eruption of digesting sludge on the river bottom. These boils come from sewage solids that have deposited in time past and are now undergoing natural decomposition or putrefaction as a part of nature's scheme of water cleansing. These conditions are clearly indicative of severe sewage pollution. In this view of 4 Mile Run below the Mount Vernon Memorial Highway, floating trash is abundant and the sight of sewage solids cannot be avoided. The entire shoreline is most unattractive. As it is, it lacks completely the natural beauty we like to associate with our streams. All along this run, the decomposition of sewage solids may be seen plainly with the ebullition of gas from fermenting scum and sludge deposits. Drainage ditches and shore irregularities give added opportunities for this condition to occur. Above the Memorial Highway Bridge, the run also has the appearance of an open sewer. Even at high tide, when these views were made, there does not appear to be any dilution of the waste poured into the stream. Going upstream, the run narrows and sewage pollution and its effects seem more intense. These crows were the only sign of wildlife seen from the run. Instead of a foul stream, the run could be a principal feature of a park, offering all the benefits that come from wholesome recreation. This heavy oil scum must have been discharged from some industrial operation. Such industrial waste cannot be released into open water courses without deterioration of water quality and without detrimental effects to the fish in the stream. Even if the water were not polluted with sewage, the oil scum would jeopardize fish life and kill all plant life. The ore demonstrates the density of the oil coating on the water. We are now above Jefferson Davis Highway, or US 1, and here is shown the submerged outlet of the Arlington County Sewage Treatment Plant, adjacent to the county's 4-mile run dump. Much sewage pollution enters the run at this point because this plant cannot treat all of the county wastes. The plant is of inadequate capacity, treating but part of the Arlington load, and this by sedimentation only. During low tide, the discharge of this plant could be seen more easily, but navigation, even in a rowboat, would be impossible. Across the creek, Alexandria's raw sewage is discharged by the Reed Avenue sewer at the heavy gray area shown in this view. A 6-inch city water line crosses the polluted creek at this point. Proceeding upstream, there is a truly sick creek bank on either side. The dump, with its unsightly deposits of many kinds of refuse, seems in keeping with the surroundings. In spite of the repulsive appearance of the stream, during summer months, children play along the creek banks, in contact with the water. Surely they are ignorant, as their parents must be, of the disease germs usually present in such waters. Disease bacteria usually found in polluted streams include typhoid and paratyphoid fevers, amoebic and bacillary dysentery, as well as numerous organisms capable of producing serious skin and other infections. Direct contact with the polluted water is not necessary for exposure to these disease bacteria, as flies or other insects may carry them from the run to the household. The bacterial population of the water shown here exceeded 100 million per cupful. Alexandrians of 30 years ago will remember this area as a natural lake and its use for health-giving recreation. Advancing upstream, indications of present and past deposits of sewage solids are plentiful. Pictures made as far upstream as rowboat navigation was possible indicate great similarity in the general appearance. The waste responsible for these conditions could be eliminated from the streams by application of established treatment processes before discharge into the stream. Guidance in the adaptation of specific treatment methods is available to Virginia communities through the State Water Control Board and the State Department of Health. It is almost unbelievable that these conditions prevail where 4-mile run is crossed by the Jefferson Davis Highway, all railroads connecting Washington with the south, and the Mount Vernon Memorial Highway. These facilities serve tens of thousands of travelers daily. Sludge deposits were easily found, and they were stirred up noticeably when the ore hit bottom. At the mouth of 4-mile run, bubbles on the surface emphasize the constant decomposition of sludge beds under the water. In addition to the surface traffic, the Washington National Airport, immediately north of Alexandria, serves as a constant flow of travelers. Because of the extreme severity of these pollution conditions, they may be observed readily from planes in flight. Sewage odors reported as a nuisance at the airport probably originate in this area. The Potomac waterfront of the city is indicated by this red arrow. Here are views of the Alexandria shoreline with waterfront industries dependent upon the river for shipping and industrial water supply. In addition, numerous residential developments have taken place at or near the river because of the potential attractions of such locations. The water here is used for a seemingly endless variety of craft. These include racing shells of the Old Dominion Boat Club, sailboats from the National Capital Park Sailing Marina immediately to the south of 4-mile run, as well as all yacht clubs in the Washington metropolitan area, and power boats ranging in size from day cruisers to ocean-going vessels. One of the sewers from Old Alexandria at the foot of Montgomery Street indicates further the misuse of the river for crude sewage discharge. In addition, dumping of all kinds of refuse is common practice along the Potomac shore. Alexandria's 176 pale privies, serviced by scavenger, add to the pollution discharged at this point. Here, a sample of water is being taken for bacterial laboratory analysis. Near the Queen Street sewer, a privy was built over the bank of the river, indicating further disregard of sanitary regulations. Near the Norfolk and Washington steamboat dock at the foot of Prince Street is the location of another sanitary sewage discharge. Even though the reflection in the water shows the sky blue, there is a constant discharge of untreated domestic sewage into the river, clearly indicated by the gray area in the picture. Here, another river water sample is being taken for bacterial analysis. Tests showed the presence of great numbers of infectious bacteria. Use of Alexandria's waterfront includes boating for pleasure as well as fishing and commerce. Concealed in this trash, including an abandoned rowboat, is a small sewer outlet at the foot of Wolf Street. Outlets exist at the foot of each principal street running to the Potomac River or to the creeks around the city. This grayish sewage discharge at the Gibbon Street sewer, taken at high tide, is characteristic. Commercial vessels using these waters include the Norfolk Passenger Line and freighters that bring paper for Washington newspapers from Nova Scotia and Finland. Barges bring oil from Texas, sulfur from Louisiana, oyster shells and agricultural produce from Chesapeake Bay, sand and gravel from downriver points. Naval vessels pass these waters, not only for access to the naval gun factory, but also for transfer of material and personnel between the naval installations on the river. The old Alexandria electric power plant is a large industrial user of river water for cooling. Because of the grossly polluted condition of the river water, additional costly maintenance of condenser equipment is required. Approximately 50 million gallons of river water are pumped through the plant daily. Here we see the cooling water being returned to the river. The arrow now points to the Hunting Creek area, where apartment developments have almost reached the shoreline. Construction of this character has been necessary to accommodate Alexandria's tremendous increase in population during the last 20 years. This box-like sewer at the foot of Royal Street is another sewage discharge into Hunting Creek. Here, as in 4 Mile Run, may be seen floating sewage solids and the effects of sewage deposits on the bottom. Low tide exposes the decaying sludge banks, allows unpleasant odors to be given off to the atmosphere, and gives flies access to the deposits. Here the arrow points to Huff's Run, which drains a large area of the central part of Alexandria. Crude sewage discharge of the Taylor's Run sewer into Huff's Run, already appearing as an open sewer, intensifies the pollution of the run at this point. When this picture was made, there seemed to be no diluting water in Huff's Run. The flow in the run started with this discharge of domestic sewage near the railroad bridge. Huff's Run, like Upper 4 Mile Run, is a sickly stream with an unsightly shoreline as well as water content. It could be navigated only in a small boat and at high tide. At low tide, sludge banks are exposed, adding to the atmospheric pollution of the area. At high tide, many sewer lines are submerged, but the effects of pollution are not completely hidden. Back at the Hunting Creek flat may be seen the refuse dumping operations and the Payne Street sewer, which is an additional outlet constructed recently. The discharge from this outlet at the present time is a trickle of clear water, but when the apartments it serves are occupied, this line will discharge domestic sewage like all other outlets. We regret that the effects of the sewage discharge of Alexandria's 100,000 persons do not make prettier pictures. We, as citizens of Alexandria, must realize that the domestic and industrial water pollution caused by our neglect threatens our health and the health of our children, and that these deplorable conditions must be remedied.